Hi, I am Nicky Clements, and the other day my wife was making herself some lunch, and she was just preparing it in one of these bulk food containers. Now, these things are awesome. I get them from Gordon Food Supply, but you should be able to find them all over the place. They come in a whole range of sizes. They're great for food storage, for non-food storage. You can reuse them over and over again, but also, like, if there's a really nasty leftover in one, it's like, it's not really worth the container. You can just throw the whole thing out. I love these things. They're great for crafts too. You can mix paint or resin or whatever you want. Recyclable. They're recyclable, but also recycling has its own set of issues. But all that aside, these are awesome containers. Can highly recommend having some in the kitchen. And anyway, she was using one of these to prepare her meal. I think she was making like a chicken salad or something. I'm just doing something similar with a taco salad. Now with all the ingredients in the container, she of course needed to mix it up, and instead of trying to stir it, it's already completely full. The better way is to just shake it. Now of course, if you put the top on, there really isn't any room to shake anything. It'll just kind of stay where it is. So instead, she took a second container and just set it on top and gave it a good shake. And I was like, that's pretty smart. But I also thought, I think we can do better. So I made this, which is basically a double top. So I can put this on the bottom container, take a top container, and there we go. I think that is super cool. It works perfectly, and you don't have to worry about keeping them together or it slipping or it falling apart. I mean, it's super novel, but I really like it, and I see myself using this a lot. It didn't take me that long to 3D model, although it was a bit of a challenge because I did model it after the actual top, which, thinking about it now, I don't really think is necessary. I think I could get away with just basically 2 simple channels because you don't really need it to fit as snug as the actual tops. Maybe if you're mixing something with water, so it needs to like not leak, but for this purpose it's perfect, and having it not be a super tight fit just makes it easier to get on and off. This one, for example, was printed at 101.5%, and it's quite a snug fit, so it takes a little bit more effort to get it on. And I'd say it's still just slightly too small, maybe 101.7 or 8, because this one is 102%, and it's just a nice, easy fit. It just goes on no problem. So like, let's see if it holds water. Honestly, yeah. One small drop. Like I said, it is a bit of a pain to get on and off. It's not nearly as easy, and it doesn't feel like a good fit. Whereas this one just pops on, but easily comes off. And yeah, so that one definitely does leak more. So I mean, if you need it to be airtight, I guess you can print it a little thinner. But like I said, the idea of it is for solid foods that you just need to mix up. So I think this 102% one is definitely ideal. But I do like that it does kind of have a cool look to it. And I was a little bit intimidated by doing this design. I wasn't quite sure how to get those curves, but once I got into the design, it kind of came and I was able to figure it out, and it actually printed pretty perfectly. I was pretty surprised. I didn't use any supports on the bottom, so it is a bit rough, but that really doesn't matter. I mean, it works. I mean, that's basically it. It's just a ring that connects 2 containers. I mean, there's not much more to it. I'll try and make the 3D file available if someone wants to download it, but Like I said, you don't really need the ring. She did it just fine, just holding the container together. Could you make it without a 3D printer? I mean, we could try gluing 2 of these tops together. You want to try that? Want to see if you could just glue 2 of these tops together and make basically the same thing? Okay. I'm going to finish my lunch first, though. So the first thing I want to do is cut out the center of the top. I'm just going to do that with a razor blade. I'm sure you could do it with scissors as well. There we go, pretty clean cut. You can just kind of follow along on that inside edge. I think I'm cutting 2 at the same time. I guess that's okay. Okay, that worked out. Now that's interesting. The pack of tops that I just bought are different than the ones I've previously had. It's basically, like I was saying, just a simple U channel, where this one has these more complicated divots. This older top has a bit more surface area, which would probably work better for gluing, but we'll just go ahead and try it with the new tops. We're gluing plastic, and like I always say, that's always a challenge because glues and plastics just never mix well, but we'll see how we get on. So I just have some sandpaper and I'm going to rough up the top where we're going to apply the glue. That just gives the glue more surface area that it can grab onto and makes it harder for it to just cleanly peel off. All right. So I'm just going to try and glue them together with just some regular Loctite super glue and see how well that holds. If it works, great. If not, we'll experiment with some other glues maybe, or we'll just call that a bust. And I'm just going to use some activator to speed things along. Yeah, it's peeling apart pretty easily. It's kind of what I figured, unfortunately. Let's give hot glue a try. I'm still going to rough it up. Yeah, you dumb top. Sanding it's easier before cutting the bottom off. Now this Ryobi glue gun gets excessively hot, so there should be enough time to get a bead of glue all the way around before it starts to cure to the point where it doesn't work. Yeah, hot glue made a pretty good bond. That's really not coming apart. I mean, if I work hard enough, I can get it apart, but that's holding plenty strong for our purposes here. So there we go, that works. That's perfectly fine. You can definitely make it that way and it'll do exactly what my other one does. This one should definitely be pretty waterproof. Yeah, pretty good. A few leaks. I mean, you could just fill all that in with more hot glue. It's hot glued, so I mean, it is what it is. I definitely prefer my 3D printed model. Just snap on, give it a good shake, and then it easily comes off. Again, this is a little bit looser, so I wouldn't do it with anything with water. It's for solid foods. But there's always another way, almost always another way, to make something. and that's kind of what I like to show. But 3D printers are awesome. That should do it for this one. I really like my container coupler. I do see myself using this quite a bit. I think it's very cool. If you want to try and 3D print your own or make yours from the tops, either way, it's quite easy and very useful. My sincere thank you for watching. Once again, I am Nick D. Clements. If you're wondering, Nick is short for Nicholas, and the D stands for double dishes. Anyway, I'm off to make something else. I do not recommend it, but let's try it. No, so there you go, never mind. Well, I successfully glued the top to the container, but I didn't glue two containers together, so hot glue or 3D printer I think are your best options.